PitchBook basically pays for itself whenever you have a successful, capital markets transaction outcome. So certainly with Devold, the ROI was basically immediate. Capient's mission is to help companies succeed in capital markets and create value over the long term. To do that, we need the right infrastructure and we need the right data. I've worked with several private growth companies, helping them build strategies and financial models, ultimately usually with the goal of raising capital. So I knew PitchBook, I knew what it was about. I knew that everyone that works in private markets wants PitchBook. And obviously when I moved to Capient, I basically said, this is the gold standard for private market transaction data and company data, and I basically said that we need this. In any environment in which Capient is working with private growth companies, we're using PitchBook in all the ways that you would expect. We're using PitchBook to identify potential investors. We're using PitchBook to identify calm transactions and build credible valuation ranges. And one really amazing example where we leverage PitchBook to produce a successful capital markets transaction was in the recent sale of a stake in Devold by Flakk Group to Fenix Outdoor. Devold is this really amazing premium international merino wool brand with a 170-year heritage, all sorts of really cool stories of Arctic expeditions going back 100 years. Devold was 100% owned by Flakk Group, which is a family office on the northwest coast of Norway. And Flakk, to kind of help Devold go to the next level internationally, was looking to bring in a strategic investor. They were looking to sell about a 20 to 30% stake initially. So the type of buyer that we needed to bring in was someone that had kind of international brand recognition and the ability to kind of elevate sales channels to the next level in regions like the Alps and in the US and Canada. We started mapping potential investors, and we established a strong connection and actually identified them as pretty much the right strategic buyer from the start. This was Fenix. And Fenix owns brands like Fjällräven, which is very well known internationally, as well as other brands like Royal Robins and Hanwag. They also operate distribution channels and stores throughout Europe, the US, Asia, Canada. So the first step of the process was really trying to develop a credible valuation range. So we used PitchBook to create very detailed, company and comparable transaction screeners, ultimately identified about 20 peers and 30 global kind of comp transactions that we used to identify a credible valuation range. Flakk Group was looking to sell, as I said, a smaller stake. However, Fenix was basically used to buying 100%, doing 100% acquisitions of companies. So you had a kind of tension between Flakk Group, which wanted to retain control, and Fenix, which wanted to take a larger stake. So as the process, evolved, the second step where we used PitchBook was, to kind of identify alternative buyers for a smaller stake, which was what Flakk Group was initially looking for. So that helped us, have some fallback options in case the deal didn't proceed, which, kind of inevitably happens in any sort of M&A transaction. We were able to bring the two sides together. The ultimate deal settled at a valuation of about 900 million krona. Flakk Group did agree to sell and really put Devold on a very strong international growth platform to deliver on their financial goals in the coming 5 years. PitchBook, enabled us to create a credible valuation range, have credible comps, and ultimately make this transaction a reality. PitchBook basically pays for itself whenever you have a successful, capital markets transaction outcome. So certainly with Devold, the ROI was basically immediate. Capient has been a client of PitchBook for over a year now, and we're using it constantly in any sort of private growth setting, and it's increasingly becoming relevant and useful in public company settings as well. Most of our clients right now are Nordic companies, and where PitchBook really helps us with the access to global data, transactions, valuation benchmarks that help us elevate our Nordic companies to a more international stage. PitchBook is already proving an integral cornerstone of our approach. And I think as we look to expand our profile more into Europe and work more with private growth companies, PitchBook is basically going to be, a critical part of our infrastructure and everything that we do.